So you saw us take apart the diff, check backlash. We're going to show you where to weld an RX7 FC clutch type diff to get rid of your slip problems during drifting. Especially helpful in tight angle drifts, donuts, burnouts such as that. You have these two gears here. They accept the stubs that slide in from the outside of the diff here that actually drive the axles that drive the wheels. And these carriers that the clutch packs usually ride on, when there's a torque differential, those clutch packs are pushed against the outside of this case that locks the diff together. These older diffs, as they wear out, the clutch packs start to get smooth and they don't lock up as tight. So the cheap and easy fix is to weld them. So what we're going to do, we're going to weld these spots here to this case all the way around there. We're going to drop a couple dabs of weld down in here. Make sure this is locked up nice and tight. And this bar that used to house the spider gears sits there. And this one sits on top. Keeps your spacing correct inside the diff case. And then the whole assembly will go in here. The whole thing will be driven by these ears. And then your ring gear over here attaches to this case, as you saw before, driven off the pinion, fully locked diff. So let's weld them.
Now that your clutch pack hubs are welded, you put them back in the case. All you really need is locating devices. You don't really need these spider gears anymore. You don't need clutch packs anymore. We're just using this for locating and spacing. That's all it's really for now. It's going to be quite tricky to get everything in without any oil on anything. And look at that. Get your locating screws in. Alright, we got our locating screws in. Just make sure before you put everything together that there's no play and those two cups aren't sliding around in there. They ride on little washers just for spacing.
How kind of screwdriver is that, Jake?
It's an impact driver.
Size of those, Jake, 12 or 14?
14.
About the level of play you want?
Yeah, it's getting there. And that's why we use paint marks, folks, just to get us close. And then we can adjust the last little bits out. Still moving around in that bearing. You gotta torque your nits. Leave that in there. You've got far too little backlash. Far too little. The difference between where the needle stops and stops again. Less than 10, we're looking for 30 thousandths. So what we need to do is move this whole diff that way, right? Loosen this sundial, tighten this one. A lot, but the spec is 31 or 32, 33. And we're right there. Just about. So, backlash set. And now we can torque down our cap, our bearing caps, and just make sure these sundials are closed in. And those bearings, make sure there's no play. This way. And your little keepers for the sundials. Make sure they're gonna fit in there. Sometimes you gotta persuade them. Or just turn the sundial, you know. In this case, it's got to go back a little bit just to line up. My assistant's gone. Sure, it's something like that.
Alright, since the big dog's too good to put a case on, spread some RTV around. I like to just wipe the mating surface down to make sure there's no oil or anything. Here. We like to use RTV gray. Sets up nice and hard. Seals against oil decently. We have a little nipple on the end of your RTV. That way you can reuse it. Just pull that little plug out. Okay, the fun part. Not much left as far as assembly goes. It's that long bolt we talked about. And pretty much you just hand tighten all of them. Just enough that RTV starts to squeeze out, like the directions on the tube. Let it sit for about 45 minutes. Torque it down. Put your stub shafts in with a hammer, a little mallet or something, just to knock them in. That's all there is. Put it back in the car, bolt your axles up. You got a welded diff.
That's gotta be my favorite piece. I think the majority of people would think that a snap timing belt would lead to the engine's completely